Fixing No Authentication Provider found for Username Password Authentication Token in Spring Security. Understanding the problem. If you encounter the error, when trying to authenticate in a Spring Security setup with a custom JWT provider and filter, it means Spring Security doesn't know how to handle the username password authentication token you are passing. What's happening under the hood? Spring Security relies on authentication providers to process authentication tokens. If you don't register your custom authentication provider properly, Spring falls back to default providers like No AuthenticationProvider. Your custom provider only supports JWT authentication token, but the system attempts to authenticate a username password authentication token, causing the failure. Why this happens? From your logs and configuration. Your custom provider supports only JWT authentication token. The login endpoint triggers authentication with a username password authentication token, likely from the login form, but no provider is registered to handle it. How to fix it? 1. Register your authentication provider properly. Add your JWT authentication provider to the HTTP security filter chain configuration like this. Spring Security then knows to use your custom provider for JWT tokens. 2. Support username password authentication token if needed. If your login endpoint uses username password authentication, you might need to also configure a standard DAO authentication provider or extend your provider to support that token type. 3. Ensure Authentication Manager uses your providers. If you define an authentication manager being manually, make sure all necessary providers are passed. Summary. Always register your authentication provider explicitly in your Spring Security config. Match the supported token types with what your endpoints produce. Provide a standard provider if using username password authentication. By doing this, Spring Security will correctly find the provider to authenticate each token, eliminating the provider not found exception error. Remember, proper registration and matching token support are fundamental for custom authentication flows in Spring Security.